Both sides have rested. Testimony is over, and this morning's session in court ended with the judge giving the jury instructions on the law. Now, they're going to lunch. They've been at lunch now. They come back at 1:15, and they will immediately begin hearing closing arguments from both sides. So let's bring in our legal analyst to talk a little bit more about the final hours of this trial of John Goodman with Michelle Suskow, local criminal defense attorney. Both sides have their closing arguments this afternoon, starting with the state. What is the strategy that they are planning right now and want to make sure that they administer when they give these closings to the jury?
This is a very, very powerful part of the trial. Again, what they're saying is not evidence, but they're going to be wrapping up and tying up all their loose ends in the way that they want the jury to look at this. So you're going to hear the state methodically going through every one of their witnesses and reminding the jury of what they feel are the highlights for each of those witnesses, and then going through the elements that they have to prove for the most serious charges, either DUI manslaughter leaving the scene or vehicular homicide leaving the scene, because that's what the state wants. They want the jury to come back with the most serious charge that John Goodman is charged with. And you're going to hear Ellen Roberts speak for the state and say, use your common sense. Does the defense make any sense? Is their series of unfortunate events really make any sense at all to you?
Just to be clear, until this trial is over and the judge walks out of the courtroom for the final time, we have someone in the courtroom and watching this. And Alex Sands, as we were down here preparing, sent us a message just a short time ago saying the judge told the jurors that after the closing arguments are given today, he may not have the jury start their deliberations. Did that surprise you?
You know what, it did surprise me. I know that he's trying to work within time constraints, and I know he doesn't want the jury to rush their decision in any way. But normally, if a jury is going to get a case late afternoon, he may say, look, you can go ahead and start deliberating. The first thing you have to do is elect a foreperson. And then I'll come and talk to you again at 5, 6 o'clock. And if you're close and you all want to and you can deliberate, you can continue. If not, we'll break for tomorrow. But I think this jury is ready. They're ready to deliberate. If they go home another night, there is another opportunity for them to be tainted by publicity that's going on surrounding this case. So I think these jurors want to deliberate. They want to get this case done.
At this point, is it up to the jury, or could either side object? Could the state of defense say, no, wait, we don't want them to risk being exposed to publicity or anything. Well, please, Judge Colbath, let's get right into deliberations.
I think certainly the judge is going to hear from all sides, and he may poll the jury and say, look, what is it that you want to do? Do you have any time constraints, any problems with rides or family members you have to care for?
Now, I'm going to just suggest, we've been in the courtroom together several times, observing the jury, observing everything going on. This jury, I would think, is together somewhere having lunch, or a few of them are talking and having some lunch together, and not talking about the case, perhaps though, except about deliberations, and saying, hey, he mentioned that he doesn't want us to start today, or may not have us start today. Let's tell him other. I mean, they may, because they seem to have a camaraderie among each other. They seem to have some kind of a bonding that's going on.
They do, but yet they have not started deliberating. So that may break up very quickly if you have people on one side or the other. Or we could get a very quick verdict. But in sitting in this courtroom day after day, I was watching these jurors. You've been watching these jurors. Today, they were sharing Tic Tacs. Yeah. They were touching each other. There was a question about two of them speaking, and actually they were individually asked, were you talking about the case? And they said, actually, it was about a lost button.
And how dirty the courtroom was.
And how dirty the courtroom was. So we call that button gate. And so, no, they're not doing anything inappropriate, but they are getting along. So they do seem at this point to be a pretty cohesive group.
So once they begin their deliberations, where do they go and what happens?
What happens is once the jury actually gets the case, they're brought into the jury room. A deputy is stationed outside the jury room. The judge goes into his chambers, and the lawyers for both sides stay nearby. They may choose to sit inside the courtroom or not. And they're all waiting for that all-important knock on the door, which could signify either a jury question or a verdict.
And I was going to ask you, if they have a question, they can ask questions. They can get anything clarified.
They can, but what will happen is they have to memorialize it. They have to put the question down in writing. It's given to the judge. The judge then shows it to all the attorneys and the defendant, and then the judge says, I'm going to answer it in a particular way, and both sides get to have input on that.
It's all coming up this afternoon with closing arguments starting at 1:15, and we will be here watching everything. We will be here with live team coverage until this verdict is rendered, and with more coverage coming your way at 5 o'clock from the team. Reporting live outside the courthouse in downtown West Palm Beach, I'm Roxanne Stein, News Channel 5. Now back to you, Keely.